Dear 3rd secondary students, in this tutorial I'm going to introduce a new writing genre. First, let's watch this short video together.
I think it is a good idea for schools to require students to wear a uniform.
I think it's a bad idea for schools to require students to wear uniforms.
Clothes can be a huge distraction if students are talking about what they are wearing instead of paying attention in class.
Schools say they want students to be creative, and clothes are a great way for students to express themselves. Each student is unique, so their clothes should be unique.
In this video, we can see two persons arguing about the topic of wearing school uniforms. So I think you know now that our lesson is the argumentative essay and its structure. By the end of the session, you will be able to identify the structure of the thesis statements in an argumentative essay, identify the structure of the refutation paragraph, write a well-organized argumentative essay, and differentiate between an argumentative and a persuasive essay. An argumentative essay is an essay in which you introduce a debatable issue and take a stand on it. Your main goal should be to defend your position using evidence from personal experience, historical examples, research, statistics, etc., in order to prove that your position is more valid and more logical than the opposing one. This kind of essays has four-part structure. I mean that it has an introduction that introduces the argument, two body paragraphs that reflect your position, a refutation paragraph where you present the counter-argument before you refute it, and the conclusion. These four parts are highly important because if any is missing, we can't call it a complete argumentative essay anymore. Like any other essay, it follows the IBC division, which means introduction, body, and conclusion. Start with the introduction. Like any other introduction, it starts with a catchy hook, which could be a question or series of questions. For example, how does it feel to wear the same outfit every day? Or it could be an anecdote, a quote, statistics, or interesting facts. This opening statement should directly introduce the topic. As you know, the function of the hook is to catch the reader's attention. Then it's time to reveal your topic and give some general information on it in one or two sentences called the general statement or statements. Here we go. This is what most students have to do by wearing school uniforms. This policy is accepted by the majority of students and parents as well. Then comes the sense of argument for the first time, where you have to introduce the topic as an argumentative one in the lead-in sentence. However, this issue has become a juicy topic, igniting strong debates among those who are with and the few who are against. At the end of the introduction comes the thesis that as usual includes the topic, the counter-arguments that will be refuted in the final body paragraph, and your position that will be developed in the first 2 or 3 body paragraphs, depending on the number of claims you mentioned in the thesis. As you're done with the hook, general statement, and the lead-in sentence, it's time to write your thesis. The thesis starts with a transition that shows contrast before you mention the counter-argument and the reason behind it. See the example here. Although wearing a school uniform is not desirable by some students since it restricts their individuality, it should be a priority as it raises sense of belonging and prevents bullying. The second part of your thesis introduces your stand with the reasons that you're going to elaborate on in the first 2 or 3 body paragraphs. Is the introduction important? Yes, it is. Is the conclusion important? Of course it is. but the body section is the most important. The body paragraphs are kind of the heart of your essay. They carry the message that you have to your audience. So it is important to focus on the body of the essay, which is going to develop your argument. So, how to start a topic sentence? Any topic sentence should start with a transition signal such as first, second, or third. You may even use to begin with, additionally, or finally. Hope you remember to capitalize these words and use a comma after each one. In order to have good body paragraphs, each body paragraph should have a topic sentence that contains the main idea, various types of supporting details to explain the main idea, have connectors to achieve coherence. The main body is obviously going to include the main argument of the essay. So, the question is, what's the role of the argument? Means you have to expect objection. A good refutation essay shows the writer is aware of the opposing arguments and ready to refute it in the refutation paragraph. What is the refutation paragraph? It is a body paragraph that presents the counter-argument and the refutation. So, how do we start a refutation paragraph? Look at the first sentence that displays the counter-argument. It starts with the term opponents, which could be replaced with critics or sometimes supporters depending on the previous body paragraphs. So opponents of this policy argue that wearing a uniform restricts individuality and personal freedom. Then you should keep in mind that you have to support this counter-argument with one or two supporting details. They believe that this practice deprives students from expressing their own style and personal taste in fashion. Now it's time to refute this counter-argument. It's highly important to start your refutation with contrast signal such as even though, however, on the other hand, and so on. Even though this claim has some merit to it, one should keep in mind that school is not a place for presenting fashion shows. Since raising an objection isn't going to help your case, you need to come up with convincing reasons to show that this objection is not valid or not worthy. So you should include a part where you defend your argument by refuting the objection raised. Here it is. The school is where students should learn and acquire knowledge that prepares them to face the future. In addition, students' life is not restricted to school. They have plenty of time outside school, in the afternoons and on vacations, to express their individuality any way they wish. Like any other conclusion, the conclusion restates the thesis and reminds the readers of the writer's point of view. But keep in mind that you have to start with a concluding term such as generally speaking to wrap it up in a nutshell, and so on. After all, your full essay should have the following structure: an introduction, first and the second body paragraphs, the refutation paragraph, and the conclusion. Now it's time to compare between argumentative writing and persuasive writing. Let's start with the goal. In argumentative writing, the writer takes a strong side on an issue and admits that there is a second point of view, but tries to prove that it is wrong. While in the persuasive writing, the writer takes a strong side on an issue without introducing other views. What about the attitude? In the argumentative writing, the writer tries to be objective and logical by depending on solid reasons from statistics, facts, and research. While in persuasive writing, he is more personal, more passionate, and emotional in defending his point of view. Mentioning the point of view. In argumentative writing, the writer is aware that other views exist, So he or she presents opposing points of view, although he or she is clearly for one side. While in persuasive writing, the writer shows that his or her particular way of thinking is the only sensible way. He or she presents only his side. Is there any difference on the level of the structure? For sure, there is. In argumentative writing, the essay includes a refutation paragraph where the writer explains the opposite point of view and refutes it. While in persuasive writing, all the paragraphs of the essay explain the point of view of the writer. To test your mastery of writing argumentative essay, here, 2 prompts for you. Prompt 1. Read the following opinion from an article on the threats of fast food. Though eating fast food regularly can cause various health complications, many families find themselves taking a trip to their favorite fast food restaurant more often than they would care to admit. Write an argumentative essay in which you agree for or against the above statement. As you develop your work, support your position by drawing on logical reasoning and experience. Prompt 2. On one hand, the use of animals in scientific research is considered morally wrong even if it benefits humanity. On the other hand, removing animals completely from the lab would prevent our understanding of health and diseases. Where do you stand concerning the above 2 positions? Don't forget, if you are sociology or economics section, life science and general sections, your essay should be between 250 to 300 words. But if you are a literature and humanities section student, your essay should be between 400 to 500 words. Dear students, when you're writing an argumentative or a persuasive essay, you have to write a 5-paragraph essay, read the question and circle the clues, and always plan your essay, opinion, and topic sentence ahead. In this tutorial, we identified the structure of the thesis statement and the refutation paragraph in an argumentative essay, identified the structure of the argumentative essay, differentiated between an argumentative and a persuasive